So g'day and welcome back to Humanities Coins and Banknotes, and my name is Glenn, and in the last video we done on Turkish coins. We had this coin series which was the early 90s coins that were issued for circulation, although the 50 and the 100 quickly lost pretty much purchasing power, and by 1995 really the smallest value you probably would have got in circulation is the 1,000 lira. So the Turkish lira is the lira, and it's equivalent to 100 kuruş. But at this time, obviously, the 50 lira is the smallest coin, so the kuruş is no longer in circulation. And the highest coin was the 5,000. Now, in 1994, they did issue a 10,000 lira, but the mintage is only around about 4 million. And the population of Turkey at the time was roughly about, if you look at demographics, about 62 million. So really that's not enough coins to replace any banknote that's in circulation. Even though a lot of banknote issues of this time period are actually quite small. So here we have the demographic issue of Turkey at the time. So 1990, 56 million. So 95, roughly about 60, 62. 2000, 67. And we don't have any statistics here, but you can add these on. And by 2007, it's 70 million. And as you can see, next time period, 75 million. So the actual increase in population is getting smaller. That is because natural change is also reducing, so that would mean that people are living longer and also less births. So the death rate is increasing, the birth rate is decreasing, so that the death rate's increasing because of the increase in population. But still, we have a 20 million person increase, and the popular death rate's gone up 2.5 times. So really there's something else going on here. Okay, so the actual currency itself, and this is what we need to take into account when we are talking about the coins that are issued. So 1995, the exchange rate is 43,000. So that means 4,300 is 10 US cents, and 430. 43 is 1 US cent, so pretty much 50 lira. And that's a decrease from 2,500 lira. So really that 5,000 lira was equivalent to $2 in 1990. And in 2000 we had 620,000 lira. And if we take the current exchange rate of 20 lira, that will be 20 million. And as you can see, when they change the actual currency for the new one, is 1.3 new lira equals 1 US dollar. Okay, so I just got myself a little bit confused. So in 1990, this is equivalent to 1 US dollar. This is equivalent to 2 US dollars. In 1995, we had roughly 50,000 lira equals 1 US dollar. So this is equivalent to 10 cents. This one was equivalent to 1 cent. This one was equivalent to 0.1 cent. So I did say 1 cent before, but that was incorrect because I'm a little bit of a stupid idiot. So basically in 1995, these two coins were no longer in circulation. I'll say the 500 also not. And we only have the 1,000, the 2.5 and the 5,000 lira. So they didn't reduce the size of the 2,500, but they didn't issue any more for circulation. So up until 1998, it's only issued for coin sets. So we can also remove that from actual circulation. So really you had these two coins in circulation. But what they done is they reduced the size of those two coins. So they did issue a 10,000 lira, and they reduced the size of the 1,000 and the 5,000. So the 1,000 still has the wheat, and it's a small coin made out of brass, so 90% copper. So this is a 1995 issue, and it has 36,820,000, so really not enough for the market, and that's the highest mintage. Then 96, 3.9 million, and then it ceased being issued for circulation after that. So really this coin didn't last long in circulation, so you're going to find it pretty much in uncirculated grade. The 2,500 obviously was not issued in substantial numbers after 1992 with 48,800,000. The 5,000, so we'll get rid of that. We have a small 5,000, and these are actually quite thick coins. So it does have the tulip on it still, and it's also made out of brass. And the mintage from 1995 to 98, it had good mintages. So 95, 75 million, 98 had 52 million, this one's 96 was 75 million as well. So, and in 1998 they issued two versions, the 5.98 grams and the 3.48 grams. Means they just reduce the thickness of the coin. But those coins with the low weight, the highest mintage was only 8,758,000. It's really not enough. That was in 2001, so not enough for the actual market. So these pretty much fell out of circulation in the late 90s, and it's quite a nice coin. I don't mind this, and as you can see it does do tone, and all these coins have Mr. Ataturk on the actual, has these on the front of the coin with Turkey Republic, and as you can see that one's probably a little bit of a die feel, so it has probably a grease on the die. Then we had the 10,000. The 10,000, which had the carnation flowers, so that's the carnation. It's actually quite nice. I got one in my front yard. It's nice red flower, very beautiful. So this one, 1996, is the highest mintage of 113 million. Then we have 97, so the mintages start reduce after this time period. So this is 68 million, and by 2000 they pretty much stopped issuing them from circulation. So really it didn't have, because in the year 2000 the actual exchange rate was 620,000 equals $1. So then 6,200 equals 10 cents. So this is a little bit over 10 cents. And this one has Turkey Cumhuriyeti on this side, and it's also milled, and it is made out of, like the rest of the coins, nickel brass. So most of it's copper and zinc, a little bit of nickel and magnesium. Okay, so that's quite a nice coin. So none of these coins are actually very expensive, all pretty accessible. I wouldn't pay for more than $2 to $3 for one of these coins. But they did issue another 2.5 denomination coin. This is the 25,000 lira, and this one's dated 1997, mintage of 57,300,000. The lowest mintage was 1995 with 11,789,000. So nothing really, none of these are going to be scarce. And this one has I don't know what type of flower that is. Anyway, it looks like a rose, if you ask me myself. So these stopped being minted in 2000. So there's only from 1995 to 2000, and all years were issued. Okay, in 1996 they issued a 50,000. So 96 had 1,444,000. That's the lowest minted. And the last mintage was in 2000. So all the numbers you can find on Numistar. And then we have the highest denomination of this series. This is the 100,000, first issued 1999 and last issued in 2000. So this one is a mintage of 101,439,000, and it has, so this is the commemorative one. Can't find my other coin that was issued for circulation. So that means it's the 75th anniversary of the Turkish Republic. And they did issue a similar coin. That's a commemorative one. So this one has Kemal Atatürk. The commemorative one only has 75, the crescent. So pretty much it just has that design in the center on the back. And this one is pretty common. I wouldn't be paying more than $1 for this coin. As you can see, it's rated. It's smaller than the 50,000. So this 50,000 is actually the largest coin issued at the time, and it's similar in size to the 5,000. Actually, it's just probably about a millimeter smaller if you put them together. And this one has, looks like maple leaves in the back. So that this one's a little bit circulated, but the date in this one is the key date, so 1996. And all of the other dates are pretty common. So with this one, 1996, because it's a key date, you probably pay a little bit extra, probably about $5 or something. So this one has just reading TC for the name of the country, and it has fleurs. Now the 25,000, as you can see, it saw a little bit of circulation, not really that much, as Mr. Ataturk on the back. And here we have the same, so we have pictures of flowers impressed and TC as well. So when it's impressed, it actually lasts longer because the metal that's flat, so all this metal here, because it's solid, you need a lot of force to actually damage it. And it's quite easy to actually press the actual metal into the gaps because there's nothing to stop it. But if this was coming out like some coins are, it's easy to wear down because there's not much resistance to the actual coin. And these ones are quite thick, so they are about 2.6 millimeters, so they're quite a thick coin set. So if we put them all together, all the denominations, the 100,000 can go is in between the 10 and 25,000. Then we've got 50,000. You can see this is a thick coin series. The previous coin series, I've got those ones, are not as thick, so they're about 2 millimeters thickness. And then I'll put the rest of them together. So you can see they're actually thinner. So this is the 50 to 5,000. This is the 1,000 to 100,000 lira. So, and that's to try to distinguish it, so you wouldn't use these coins as these coins because the denomination is actually not as much. So I hope this helps you with these Turkish coins. Personally, I wouldn't pay more than $1 for most of these coins, except for if they're a low mint coin. But you can find all the information that you need about this coin series on Numistar, and also they're just a really interesting coin series to get because this country was going through a little bit of problem at the time, and like now the currency is actually devaluing, so I wouldn't be surprised if sooner or later you're going to get this effect again. Sad for Turkey. Should be a nice country to visit though. Yeah, especially I like to go and have a look at the Hittite sites. probably the Lydian and Lycian. The Lycian tombs look nice, and I believe they got monuments with a lot of their language on it, which is an Anatolian language. And then you've got the Luvians. They're interesting as well. And down in the southeast corner, you got where the Hurrians actually lived. Very interesting history. Thank you and goodbye.